Hey everybody, hope all is well. So now we're continuing in the Indisputable Truth book series. We just began, going through the proofs of God. The proofs of how do you know Judaism is true, compelling evidence that God gave the Torah. And we went through a bunch of astronomy proofs. We said one idea. We said, how do you know a religion is from God? We said, if the book gives you information that no way any human being could ever possibly have made up, if it's predicting crazy things about the universe, again, especially a book written 3,300 years ago, telling you crazy stuff about how many stars in the universe, the exact renewal of the moon, the shells of the sun, crazy different proofs showing that there's no way a human being can know it. Like if I asked, imagine you see a book and the book is talking about 9/11 and talking about stuff, and you're like, bro, this book was written thousands of years ago. How did it predict such an event, right? Word for word, and talks about all those things. The idea is that book is from God, because that's called divine information. Only information that at the time it was written. Again, nowadays, okay, it makes sense how we have all these calculations and whatever. But back then, only the creator of the universe could have figured it out. And that, if you see a lot of evidence like that in a religion, in a book that claims to be from God, then you have a good indicator that book's from God. You have a good indicator that that religion is true and that God actually gave it, and it's not a joke, and it's not somebody faking and making a new religion, right? So we brought the astronomy proof, the renewal of the moon proof, then stars of the universe. We talked about the sun, the protective shells of the sun, how the Torah knew about that there's layers in the sun. That we talked about the scientific discoveries in the Kabbalah, in the Zohar, about how the earth is round, and how Isaiah said it also before all the scientists, when they're debating on, whether the earth is flat or whether the earth is round, right? So now we're on the fifth proof of the section in the third edition on the book. We're on page 40. We're on the fifth proof. Okay, so Earth and space. So according to some ancient scientists, the Earth stood on 3 elephants and a turtle. Okay, so if you'd see the image right here, see it in the book. Okay, this is what people thought. Okay, if you guys could see it on Zoom. People thought the Earth, that's how the Earth was, right? It had to be standing. What is the Earth on top of, right? It had to be on top of something, right? Things just don't float in the air. So they thought the Earth, and this was their, their ideas of how the Earth stood. But the idea is, today with satellite imaging, we've come to realize that these myths are primitive and silly. And what did the ancient Jews believe? What did the Torah say? Well, they didn't have to think too hard, because the answer was already written in the Jewish Bible, in the book of Job, chapter 26, verse 7, that God hangs the earth over nothingness, that the earth is just floating, it's hanging, there's nothing, it's not on top of anything. The earth is hanging in space. And if you ask any ancient Jew, and by the way, the Kabbalah also talks about this, the Zohar, that if you asked, where's the earth, where is it hanging, is it on top of, where is it on top of anything? No, the earth is floating in space. That's what the book of Job teaches us, that God's floating the earth in space over nothingness. Okay, so that's another proof. Again, I know this. I know the earth is floating in space, because when I look at satellite imaging that was, in the past 100 years when they went to the moon and I saw the picture of it, I could see the earth hanging in space. But how can somebody living 3,300 years ago ever make the claim, hey, yeah, the earth is hanging in space? If one day someone comes, you're taking a big risk if you're trying to fake a religion. Obviously, the person writing this is not a person; it's the creator of the universe, and the creator of the universe knows that Earth is hanging in space, right? And the idea is that's how you know that. Another proof. Again, there's so many proofs, and you have to look at them all in a combination. Again, we're going to give more and more proofs, but the idea is to see that that's called divine information. Only information the creator of the universe could have known at the time. Okay, the Big Bang, proof number 6 of the category of astronomy proofs. As we mentioned before, until the 1960s, the overwhelming consensus of the scientific community was that the universe was eternal, which meant it was never created. So if you ask anybody, was the universe had a beginning, had an end? No, the universe is eternal. It always existed. There was no Big Bang. There was no beginning. Since the universe always existed, this means that the opening sentence of the Jewish Bible, in the beginning God created the heaven and earth, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, was wrong. So if you asked for thousands of years, the Torah wrote this 3,300 years ago, that's written in the Torah, that the universe has a beginning. It's the first word of the Torah, okay? And for thousands of years, until the modern era, until we had science, everyone said, Jews, you guys are stupid, you guys don't know what you're saying, you guys think the universe has a beginning. The universe always existed. That's what makes logical sense, right? Like, how can the universe have a beginning? That doesn't make sense. And people are laughing, people are making fun of the Jews. By the way, what I'm saying is it's not a joke. People have actually been for thousands of years, making fun and laughing at the Jews and writing against them and saying, you guys are primitive, you don't know anything. And so in 1927, scientist George Lemaitre proposed the theory that the universe did not always exist and had a beginning. This later became known as the Big Bang Theory. Eventually, through the discoveries of the famous scientists Edwin Hubble, Arnold Penzias, and Robert Wilson, the theory that the universe always existed, the static universe, was discredited, and the Big Bang became the accepted theory in science. Note that scientists had to use powerful telescopes, satellites, millions of dollars worth of equipment to discover what the Torah already stated over 3,300 years ago. Again, with full confidence, the Torah said it, because the Torah doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. God gave it, right? So if God's saying this is the reality, that's the reality. Whether people want to laugh, people want to joke, people want to make fun of, good, make fun of all you want. The creator of the universe, that's what he said, and he knows better than anybody. So the idea was, as we just said before, there are the very first words of the Jewish Bible, the Torah, is in the beginning. God created the heavens and earth. The author of the Bible, quote unquote, if it was a human being, was so confident that the universe had a beginning that he made it the first words of his book. How could a human being know such information with such certainty? If I were making up a religion, I would never start my religion with the first words of my book claiming the universe had a beginning. Because if someone came and disproved me, my religion would be over. No one would trust me once they find such a mistake. But again, the Creator gave us the Torah, and He knows how He created the world. To show you why the Torah can never be created by a human being. It can only be created by the Creator of the universe. Okay, that's idea number 6. Let's do proof number 7, the expanding universe. For thousands of years, there has been a huge debate in the scientific world if the universe is static or not. We just said static means the universe always exists. So if the universe always existed, that means there's no, it's not expanding. If the universe is expanding, that shows, okay, if you're expanding, you rewind the video, if you rewind the video, you'll get, it will come to a certain point, a beginning point, right? But if the universe is static, that means it always stays it always stays the same in the same size, shape, and whatever form. It doesn't expand, it doesn't grow, it doesn't get smaller. It's the same. So whether 1 billion years ago or 2 billion, it doesn't matter. It's staying the same. It's static. So with that being said, if you asked anybody, is the universe expanding? People would say, no, the universe is static. It's not moving. It's staying the same. It's not changing in size. It's like a balloon. It's not like the balloon is inflating. It's just staying the same size. That's what they thought. In recent times, scientists such as Edwin Hubble have discovered that the universe is not static. Rather, it is expanding and stretching. Okay? From a beginning point. Thousands of years before scientists made the discovery, our Torah mentioned the following. It says in Psalms chapter 104, verse 2, God stretches out the heavens like a curtain. And it also, another verse says in Isaiah chapter 51, verse 13, God, your creator, who stretches out the heavens. Again, if a human being made up the Torah, how could he know thousands of years ago that the universe is constantly expanding and stretching? That's the idea. Okay, fine. Expanding, stretching. By the way, when the Torah used the word stretching, the footnote, there's a beautiful footnote here. It says, if the universe is infinitely big, then the answer is simply that it isn't expanding into anything. Instead, what is happening is that every region of the universe, every distance between every pair of galaxies is being stretched. If it's not, let me read this. Yeah, so if the universe is infinitely big, it's not expanding into anything. Instead, what is happening is that every region of the universe, every distance between every pair of galaxies is being stretched. Expanding isn't really the best word to describe what is happening to the universe. Although that is the word that is often used, a word choice that I think leads to a lot of unnecessary confusion regarding what is already a difficult topic. A more accurate word for the universe might be stretching. As time goes on, the space between galaxies stretches, sort of like what happens when you take a sheet of rubber and pull it at both ends, right? But the idea is the Torah didn't use the word expanding, because that's not what's happening. The universe is stretching, right? The universe is really stretching. Like you pull two things together and it stretches, and the Torah uses the exact same word as scientists, stretching, not expanding, but stretching. So the universe is really stretching. It's getting bigger. It's expanding. Okay, fine. Let's go to proof number 8. Proof number 8 in the book. So Ramban in the Big Bang. In his commentary to the Torah, the Rambam on Genesis, he's a commentary on the Torah, chapter 1 verse 1. Nachmanides, the Ramban, not Maimonides, but Nachmanides, who lived about 750 years ago, described the initial moments of creation, which unmistakably which unmistakably read like the description of the Big Bang. And then it says in the book, see the chart to the right. I'm going to read a few things. How basically, if you look at the scientist's description of the Big Bang versus the Torah's description of the Big Bang, because Ramban, he wasn't saying his own nice theories. He was telling you, what does the Torah teach us about the Big Bang and the beginning of the universe? And Ramban basically describes the Big Bang word for word thousands of years before scientists mentioned even knew what the Big Bang was. So that Ramban says, at the briefest instant following creation, all the matter of the universe was concentrated in a very small place, no larger than a speck, like a small point, from an initial concentration of intangible substance, which is energy. Something is not physical, right? They call it a hue, like a ball of energy. And that substance expanded, and expanding the universe that it did. So that ball of energy expanded. As the expansion progressed, a change in the substance occurred. Why? That substance went from matter and energy to, right? We know E equals mc squared, right? Energy equals matter times the speed of light squared. So what is energy? Energy is just atoms and molecules. It's mass being moved at a very fast speed, the speed of light. That's what energy is, just fast moving molecules. So Ramban said what? Again, describing what was passed down in the tradition of the Jews, of Maaseh Bereshit, of how the creation of the universe happened. Rambam said that substance changed. It went from energy to it went from energy, from something more energetic, something more fast, whatever, to actual, like, again, energy is matter. Energy and matter is the same thing, but a change happened, meaning it was going very fast, like energy, and then it kind of slowed down and became more concrete in a sense, meaning that's what happened at the Big Bang. If you look at the description of the Big Bang, it says basically the same things that Rambam saw at a point that the whole universe, the Big Bang says the whole universe that we have today, as you could see in the picture right here of the universe, or right here, this is a better picture of the Big Bang. Okay, it says that the whole universe, you see every atom, every molecule, at one point, if you look at the video, right, the universe is expanding. Let's say we had a video of the universe expanding. It's expanding. Now, if you rewind the video, it starts at a point. That means everything you see, all the Earth, the Moon, the stars, the galaxies, were all condensed into such a small point. Why? Because if you learn, chemistry, we know that 99% of, basically atoms and, especially the hydrogen, but this probably applies to everything else also, is empty space. 99% of an atom is empty space. The atom is moving so fast, it takes on an illusion. It's like a fan. A fan has three fingers, and when you move them really fast, it looks like it's just one full finger. The idea is with the universe, the atoms and molecules are moving so fast, but if you condensed everything and compressed everything, it would be the size of a speck, a little dot of a pen, right? Even smaller than that. But what happened? That energy and matter, the Big Bang said, that was concentrated in a small speck, like the Rambam said, it was all concentrated, super condensed matter, and it was intelligible. It was energy. Why? Because it's so compacted that it became very, very fast. When it expanded, it cooled down. When it was compacted, it was extremely small, extremely hot, and extremely dense. Okay? And what happened? It expanded, and then it turned from energy to solid, to the universe, the stars, the galaxies, right? It turned into everything else, to more like, not as fast moving atoms and molecules, meaning objects and materials and whatever we want to call it, the space, the galaxies, the stars, right? The idea is what? And it says also, so the idea is what? How did Ramban, again, know all this information? Ramban is just telling you what the Torah, he's saying, this is what Jews, we always believe in. We have the secrets of, creation, the Kabbalah, and in Kabbalah, this is what it teaches us, in the secrets of, the Jewish tradition, the Jewish mysticism. Moreover, we know that Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, one of the most famous scientific breakthroughs of the century, explained how space and time are dependent on each other. Meaning you can only have time once there is matter and energy, once there is space. Okay? However, this concept was already described 700 years earlier by the Ramban. The Ramban says it is possible that we can say that when the heavens and earth came from nothingness into existence, nihility into existence, as mentioned in the first verse, time came into being. Right? And Ramban writes, although our time is measured in minutes and hours, which are defined in cycles of light and darkness, yet from the moment some substance came into existence, time was already part of it. Ramban on his commentary Torah, that's Genesis chapter 1, verse 4. That's if you look at his commentary. The idea is Ramban is telling you what? Nachmanides is telling you, not only he described the Big Bang word for word thousands of years before scientists, which all these scientists got Nobel Prizes. He didn't get any Nobel Prizes. But what Albert Einstein, the theory of, the theory of I think, his theory of relativity, I think it was. In his theory of relativity, what Albert Einstein got a Nobel Prize for, Ramban said 1,000 years before. Hey, buddy, Ramban said it. He wrote it in the book. It's written. Everyone knows it was written 1,000 years before, 750 years before, Albert Einstein. And he said what? That the universe has a beginning. Okay? Sorry, that the universe, not that the universe has a beginning, that space and energy and time, when did that start? It started at the moment of the Big Bang. Time began at the moment you have material and matter, so time began at what? Once you have matter and energy. So let me just quickly read this and we'll finish with this. The Ramban was not theorizing from logic. He was describing the secrets of creation, Maaseh Bereshit, that are passed down in every generation to a few elite scholars who received the tradition all the way to Moses, who received it from the creator of the universe himself, God, as you see in the Chagiga, Chapter 11b in the Talmud, Babylonian Talmud. The above examples present us with compelling evidence that the Torah had to be given by God because no human could have possibly known this information at the time. Again, guys, who in the right mind 3,300 years ago could have came up with all this information, described the universe, described the creation and everything and say, we just knew it, we're just smart. No, Ramban wasn't claiming, I'm so smart, I knew this information because I'm a genius. No, he said, this is what we've been learning. This is what the Jews have been passing down for thousands of years since Moses got the Torah on Mount Sinai. God told Moses about the secrets of creation. But that's the idea. Next time we still have more proofs to go, we'll continue next time. Thank you for listening.